Hi, I'm Mark Duxbury. Softly is a weekly reading. Today, George Bernard. George Bernard, not so sure. Caught at that precise moment between certainty and all the tiny fragments where certainty crumbles. A man of conviction, but maybe a conviction that might be getting a little ragged around the edges. George Bernard is not so sure anymore. He was sure once, striding around with opinions as sharp as his collar points, or his wit, or the ink-black slashes of his eyebrows. He was sure about art, about truth, about what the world is and is not. But something's different. Something like a tremor under his confidence. He can't quite see it. You're getting old, George, or else you're finally getting young again. The world is changing, and George can't quite pin it down anymore. No more than you could trap a breeze in a bottle. Ideas seem to slip away the moment he thinks he's got them cornered. He's watching the young people, the endless parade of not like us, their demands that don't seem to fit in the old boxes anymore. George is thinking, all right then, what's left for me to be sure of? And there's the rub, as a better playwright might have said. Look at him. Look at this man coming apart at the seams in the gentlest, most human of ways. A man who believed in progress once, who fought for change and ideals and the shape of the world. He could see clear as day, yet he's here now on the edge of things, looking at the world as it changes so rapidly around him. The man who once built his life on certainty, now he's adrift in questions. Isn't George perhaps most of us in a way? Each of us with some set beliefs, only to find the edges where smooth, the hard lines blur. George Bernard, not so sure. Maybe that's what makes him who he is. Maybe that's the very heart of it. Life, after all, is change, change, change again, and yet again. George Bernard, not so sure, and yet still George Bernard. A person peering over himself, wondering if the solid ground of his own identity has turned to sand. George with his carefully curated ideals. He used to see the world in lines so straight they could slice. Now there's a bend, a twist. And what does he do with that uncertainty? Well, he doesn't know yet. The young people with their loud voices and wilder ideas make him itch, but also they intrigue him. What they create doesn't follow the rules he swore by, doesn't seem to respect the borders he set in place. It's messy, it's strange, it's achingly honest. Here he is thinking, how refreshing. But he would never admit that out loud. So George grumbles. Maybe I don't know. Maybe there are other ways. Maybe there's something I haven't considered. He's caught in his own tangled thoughts, bit embarrassed, but curious in spite of himself. On a bench in a local park, he meets a younger person. He, reading his newspaper, she, eating her lunch wrap. She speaks in half-finished sentences. It challenges George. She pokes at his sore spots, doesn't quite respect him in the way he's used to, but respects something different. George finds himself listening. He doesn't have a response, not this time, not the tidy kind he's known for. It's unsettling. Yet there is something joyful in it too. She shows him what it feels like for someone so tied to certainty to loosen his grip, even just a little. She shows him how to wrestle with this sense of liberation that feels suspiciously close to loss. This freedom that aches physically. I mean, really. Maybe, just maybe, she'll leave him there on that precarious edge, no longer sure, but not lost either. After all, isn't that where life really begins? At the moment where certainty dissolves and possibility takes its place?